안녕하세요. 하나하나 한국어입니다. Today, this is the day when you learn this craziest system of Korean grammar, honorific forms. So I have to point out that honorific forms are different from the formal sentence ending, okay? Again, I repeat that many times. Formal sentence ending makes you sound formal. When you want to show your respect, you have to use honorific forms, okay? So when do we use honorific forms? To understand this linguistically, you have to understand this concept, subject. Subject in a sentence. How do you define the subject in the sentence? Subject is the person or thing that performs the action. So, for example, I love you. What is the subject? I. He studies Korean. What is the subject? He. Okay, so again, back to our original question. When do we use the honorific form? When the subject of your sentence needs respect. When the subject of the sentence is higher than you. Okay, remember that. So Korean honorific system consists of many different layers. First, you have to choose proper nouns. Second, you have to choose proper particles. Finally, you have to choose proper verbs. Most of the times, you can create the honorific form of verb at the moment using the honorific particle. However, some other cases, you have to memorize the whole totally random different phrases. But unfortunately, these irregular verbs are more frequent. So for more details and more exercises, you can visit my grammar book. The title is This Korean Grammar Book is Not for Beginners, Part 1. It's on the page 41 to 43. Shall we start with nouns then? These are the list of neutral nouns. 집, house, 말, words or talk. 밥, cooked rice, 나이, age, 이름, name, 생일, birthday, 한 사람, one person, 부모, parents, 선생, teacher. You have to use this 댁. When you talk about the house that belongs to the person who's higher than you. 말씀, when the speaker is higher than you in a hierarchy. 진지 or 식사. I suggest 식사 rather than 진지. Okay, 식사. Modern Korean people use 식사 more, I think, when the person who eats meal is higher than you. Age, you have to say 연세. 연세, as in Yonsei University. When this age belongs to the person who's higher than you. Instead of 이름, 성함, when it belongs to someone who's higher than you. Birthday, 생신, when the birthday belongs to someone who's higher than you. Instead of 한 사람, you have to say 한 분. 분 is basically the counter noun, but more respectful form than 명. So instead of 한 명, you better say 한 분 to show the respect. Instead of 부모, which is neutral, usually we say 부모님, isn't it? Same case, 선생, 선생님. 선생님 and 부모님 are more polite, respectful forms. Okay, second, we need different personal markers. So for example, 에게, 한테, what does it mean? To. So to someone, you have to say 게 instead. 에게서, 한테서, from someone. Instead, you have to use 게. It's easy because it's the same form. How about the subject marker? You have to use 깨서. topic markers, you have to use 께서는. Okay, let's go to the next. So we're going to learn some honorific particle, how to make honorific forms of verbs with the honorific particle. 자, let's see. There are neutral verbs: present, past, future tense, and present, past, future tense. The 가요 is a verb. 많아요 is an adjective, isn't it? We need honorific form for both adjectives and verbs. So how do we conjugate? We need honorific particle 시. So you have to remember, honorific particle is located at the very front, right after the stem. So it's supposed to be 가시어요. Shorten it, 가셔요, or 가세요. It's supposed to be 가셔요. However, according to the National Korean Language Institute, they also allow 가세요 to facilitate our pronunciation, because actually 가셔요 is a little bit more difficult to pronounce, isn't it? So both, either way is okay. 가셔요 or 가세요. 자, next one, 갔어요, past tense. Always honorific particle goes first. So you put honorific particle 시 first and then past tense particle. So it becomes 가시었어요. Shorten it, 가셨어요. How about future tense? We use 갈 거예요, isn't it? Again, honorific particle first. Stem, honorific particle, and then tense particle. So it goes 가실 거예요. Shorten it, 가실 거예요. Okay, let's move on to the adjective, 많아요. 자, this time we need 의시 instead. Stem plus honorific particle and ending. Why do we need 의시 here? What's the difference between these two? Exactly, it's about 받침, isn't it? 받침 없어요. There's no final consonant. We need 시. 받침 있어요. We have a final consonant. We need 의시. So 많으시어요. Shorten it, 많으셔요. Again, 많으세요 is also allowed. Next one, 많았어요. Again, honorific particle will always before the tense particle. So stem, 의시, which is honorific particle, and then tense particle, 었, past tense particle. So 많으시었어요. Shorten it, 많으셨어요. Future tense, 많을 거예요. Again, stem, honorific particle, and then tense particle. So 많으실 거예요. Shorten it, 많으실 거예요. Done? Let's practice with formal endings. So you have to finish it with 읍니다, 씁니다, 합니다. Okay? 자, same one. 가요 becomes 가, and then 가, which is stem, and then honorific particle 시, and then sentence ending. 가시읍니다. Shorten it, 가십니다. Past tense, 갔어요. Always honorific particle comes first. 가시었 and 습니다. 가시었습니다. Shorten it, 가셨습니다. 갈 거예요. Stem, honorific particle, and then tense. 가실 겁니다. Shorten it, 가실 겁니다. Let's see, 많아요. 많아요. 많으시읍니다. So shorten it, 많으십니다. How about 많았어요? Always honorific particle comes first. 많으시 and then 엇, which is past particle. 습니다. 많으셨습니다. Shorten it. Future tense, last one. 많으실 겁니다. Shorten it, 많으실 겁니다. So always remember, we need honorific particle 시 or 으시, according to whether it has 받침 or not. Second one to remember, the order of the particles. the honorific particle always comes first, and then tense particle, okay? How about irregular verbs? There's no other option. You have to memorize it. Unfortunately, we use these irregular honorific verbs much more than the others. 자, 자다, to sleep, 먹다, to eat, 마시다, to drink, 있다, to exist, 말하다, to speak, 아프다, be ill, be sick, 죽다, to die. Let's practice informal polite sentence ending and formal polite sentence ending. Let's practice both. So 자다, somebody who's higher than you sleeps, you have to say 주무셔요 instead. 자요 아니에요. You have to say 주무셔요. When your grandma eats something, you have to say 드셔요. 할머니는 드셔요. When your grandma drinks something, you have to say 드셔요 as well. So, my grandma drinks milk. 할머니가 우유를 드셔요. Okay? 자, let's see. 있다, 있다. Someone exists. For example, your grandma is at home. We have to say 계셔요. 계셔요. 할머니가 집에 계셔요. How about 말하다, speak? My grandma speaks French, for example. 말씀하셔요. 할머니가 프랑스어를 말씀하셔요. To be sick, 아프다. My grandma is ill. 할머니가 편찮으셔요. 편찮으셔요. Finally, usually we use this as a past tense, isn't it? Somebody passed away. My grandma passed away. 할머니가 돌아가셨어요. 할머니가 돌아가셨어요. We usually use it as a past tense. As I said, National Institute of Korean Language declared that we can use 세요 instead of 쉬어요. 세요 instead of 쉬어요, because 세요 is much easier to pronounce. 자, let's practice with a formal sentence ending. 자, 주무셔요 becomes 주무십니다. 드셔요 becomes 드십니다. 마시다 also 드십니다. 계셔요 becomes 계십니다. 말씀하셔요 말씀하십니다. 편찮으셔요 편찮으십니다. 돌아가셔요 돌아가십니다. Again, usually for this particular last one, we usually use it as a past tense, isn't it? So usually we say 돌아가셨습니다. 돌아가셨습니다. So this final chapter is extremely tricky, so I hope you can understand me as much as possible and listen carefully. I separated these verbs from the previous table because they have somewhat different mechanism in expressing the respect. 주다, to give, 묻다, to ask, 만나다, to meet, 데리고 가다, to take someone to somewhere else. What is the commonality between these words? There are two people in the sentence, usually. So for example, my grandmother gave me a piece of cake. Then there are two people, isn't it? I and my grandmother. Another example, my dad asks me about my day, for example. Then there are two people, my dad and me. So, of course, as we practiced, if the subject is someone who's higher in hierarchy than you, we stick to the rules we are used to. For example, shall we change these neutral forms into a honorific form? First of all, 주다 becomes 주셔요. Of course, you can say 주세요. My dad gives something to me. 묻다, 물으셔요. Okay, this 묻다 is irregular verb, so 디귿 changes to 리을. 물으셔요. Of course, you can say 물으세요. My dad asks me something. 만나다, 만나셔요. Or 만나세요. My dad meets someone else. 데리고 가다, 데리고 가셔요. Or 데리고 가세요. Also possible. My dad takes someone to somewhere. Shall we practice with these formal endings as well? 주다, 주십니다. 묻다, 물으십니다. 만나다, 만나십니다. 데리고 가다, 데리고 가십니다. Done. When can we use these conjugated honorific forms of verb? When the subject is higher than you. How about the other way around? When you give something to your dad, when you give something to your grandma, when the performer is you and the receiver is someone else who is higher than you need different verbs. I'll give you here. So instead of 주셔요, you have to use 드려요. Again, to clarify what's the difference. 주셔요, in this context, my dad gave me a birthday present. 드려요, in this context, I gave a birthday present to my dad. There are two gives, but we need separate gifts in Korean, okay? 자, instead of 물으셔요, we have to say 여쭤요. 만나셔요, 뵈요. 데리고 가셔요, 모시고 가요. How about the formal ending? Again, 드려요 becomes 드립니다. 여쭤요 becomes 여쭙니다. 뵈요 becomes 뵙니다. 모시고 가요 becomes 모시고 갑니다. I know this is crazy, isn't it? Thank God I'm Korean. So let's do some exercises. I put only 6 out of 10 exercises from my textbook. It's on page 42. Pause the video and please fix these sentences into proper honorific sentences. To natives here, it sounds very rude. I'll give you some time. Shall we do it together? Number 1. 아버지가 주방에 들어갑니다. 그리고 요리를 합니다. Okay, we have to change these 3 parts. First of all, particle. Subject particle, subject marker, we have to use 깨서. 들어갑니다. We shouldn't use that. We have to say 들어가십니다. There's a she, honorific particle. 그리고 요리를 하십니다. Again, honorific particle. Number 2. 박 선생, 커피를 마시세요. 김 선생이 만들었어요. We have to check these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So instead of 선생, I guess you all probably got it correct. 선생님, we have to say. 자, 마시세요. 마시다 is irregular honorific form of verb, isn't it? 드셔요 or 드세요. 자, 김 선생, again, 선생님. Subject marker E, we have to say 깨서. 만들었어요 becomes 만드셨어요. We need she somewhere here. Number 3. 할아버지는 오늘 노인정에 갈 거예요. First of all, 는 we have to change it to 깨서는, isn't it? Particle. And 갈 거예요, we're talking about grandfather. So, 가실 거예요. Number 4. 김 선생은 내일 오전에 수업이 있어요. We have to check here. 선생님께서는 수업이 있어요. If you said 계세요, because it's one of the irregular honorific form, you're almost correct. Very good try. Well done. However, there's another layer hidden. So in this context, what exists? 수업이 있어요. What exists? Does Mr. Kim exist or classes exist? 수업이 있어요 means there are classes, isn't it? So the subject is class. We don't have to respect class. However, this class belongs to Mr. Kim. So instead of 계세요, we would say 있으세요. Just put honorific particle 시 into 있다, the base form. I know this is crazy, isn't it? Number 5 and number 6 is very good training for the final section. The honorific form by lowering yourself. Number 5. 동생이 엄마한테 생일 선물을 줬어요. Let me interpret it. My younger sibling gave a birthday gift to my mom. 자, we have to think. Okay, this is mom, so obviously we have to change the particle. 한테 or 에게, we have to change it to 게. So whose birthday is it? Mom's birthday. So we have to change it to 생신. Again, who is the performer? In this case, younger sibling has to be lower than mom. So we have to lower this verb to 드렸어요. 주다 becomes 드리다. Again, the other way around. 엄마가 동생한테 생일 선물을 줬어요. My mom gave a birthday gift to my younger sibling. Where should we change? Only here. Again, 가, because it's mom, we have to change to 께서. And what about this? 줬어요. In this case, the subject is mom. We stick to usual honorific form. So you have to say 주셨어요 here. I know, don't kill yourself now. Please repeat this video multiple times and please visit my textbook and practice several times. You'll get there. Don't give up. And if you have any questions, please let me know so that I can help you, okay? Good luck, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.